Vanderbilt starts fast on Saturday and covers against Charleston Southern.
You are Locked On Vandy, your daily podcast on the Vanderbilt Commodores, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome into the Locked On Vandy podcast on the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Corey Burton. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube as a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. So we have made it. We have made it to the precipice of week one of college football, Labor Day weekend. Got some great stuff lined up for you guys on this episode. We're going to make some picks for week one. I'm going to tell you, does Vandy cover or not? I kind of gave it away in the cold open, but you kind of know where I'm going there. The keys to the game, but I want to get into just the overall impact of the game. I think just kind of covering the general basis of the game, I think will give you an idea of just kind of where Vandy sits and what they need to do Saturday to be able to come away with this and say, hey, we had a successful outing, because not all games are created equal. Not all results are created equal. Not all winning results are created equal. I should say. So what needs to happen for Vandy to really, truly say this was a success? So winning the game, of course, but honestly, I think the impact of this game is this. All right, if you want to make a run this season, if you want to show the world that this is not the same old Vandy, you want to show the world that, hey, we are here, we're a sustainable program, we're going to win 8, 9, 10 ball games a year, we're here to stay. I think this game is of utmost importance, because every game is that way for different reasons. And the reason on this one is I think in order to be able to be great down the stretch, because it is such a tough schedule, it's such a tough league, that depth often becomes the most vital thing that you could do, the most vital thing that you can build. Depth becomes the reason why you win or you lose, right? Depth was the reason why Vandy's magical run in the middle of last season was cut short. It was lack of depth, I should say. South Carolina, LSU, and Tennessee all had better depth than Vanderbilt, so they took Vanderbilt's best shot, withstood it, and were able to win the game because Vandy just could not sustain into the fourth quarter. Now, when Vandy had everybody healthy against Georgia Tech, or relatively healthy against Georgia Tech, they controlled that game. So they showed that, hey, if we have the right depth, if we have the right pieces, we are capable of competing with the best, some of the best in college football. And Georgia Tech was, at the end of that season, was one of the better teams in college football. They took Georgia to 8 overtimes. It ended up not winning, but I think that had more to do with they just got on the wrong end of the 2-point shootout. But they proved that they can punch up there with some of the best, and they're an improving program as well. So for Vandy to show what they showed in the bowl game, I think tells you a lot. So the importance of this game is you have to be in a position, or put yourself in a position, to be able to build that quality depth, right? And that means covering. 36.5, here's the line, right? Here's the line. 36.5 points over Charleston Southern. 48.5, the over-under. I think you have to cover that to say, hey, we have a successful thing. Because if you can cover that spread and you can cover the over, it means some guys have gotten in the game and those guys have performed well as well, right? It's not just the starters in a game like this, right? And I think people get short-sighted in thinking or in judging a game like this, like, oh, yeah, the starters did X, Y, Z, right? But in reality, or if you're scoreboard watching and it's a closer game than you think, let's say the starters jump out to a 48-6 lead, and then the backups come in, and your 2s and 3s come in, and Charleston Southern maybe gets another touchdown. And you're like, 48-13. They gave up 13 points. What, but really it's like kind of the 2-3. So this game really comes down to like everyone's got to be sharp. You've got to get as many people reps as you can. Like I think Blaise Berlowitz and whoever you've named as your third string quarterback or whatever competition you want to have for your third string spot, or you have to be able to put yourself in a position to where you can give those guys meaningful reps. Like Blaise Berlowitz has to get meaningful reps because Diego Pavia plays such a role in which he's going to take shots. As a runner, you have to get yourself in a position to be able to do that. And covering the spread, starting fast, being sharp all the way through is the main part of this whole thing, right? It's going to be it's going to set the tempo and how you start games. It's going to set the tone for how you finish games, how you react in different scenarios. Like there's going to be different things that come up within this game that are going to be mirrored as other things, but the root of it is the same. And you're going to have to kind of deal with all that. And this is the first chance to kind of deal with all that in a game like atmosphere. So you have to, that's the significance of this game. That's the impact of this game. Are you going to lose it? No. Right. And is it a true trap game? No. But the things that you can fall into, the traps you can fall into are building those bad habits or building those good habits. It's not really a trap, but like the things you can do is, hey, we're going to build the habit of either starting fast or not starting fast. We're gonna build the habit of being slow or fast to adjust. And I think it's going to be the latter on both of those things. Like I think this team showed that it's capable of doing all of that. But now I think you just got to go out there and do it. You got to be focused enough to go out there week one and say, hey, we need to go out here, take care of business, and then get guys ready, get our depth pieces ready, because we're going to make a hell of a run. And that's the way you have to operate in a game like this. Because, again, it sets the tone for the rest of the season. And I know what you're thinking. I know absolutely what you're thinking. It's Charleston Southern. What tone could it possibly set, right? And not saying it's going to set the tone and stay that way, because if that were the case, then they probably would be operating with a new head coach right now after losing to Georgia State, because the tone that it set was, but again, the tone, that actually was set in motion. Now that I throw that example out there, the tone that was set in the first game last year was resiliency, right? They're resilient. They got out on a lead on Virginia Tech, and Virginia Tech came punching back like they do because they're a quality ball team. And then they traded punches, and then Vanderbilt outlasted them in overtime. They were resilient and won that game, right? That played out over the course of the season. You take some massive – you talk about massive adversity. Losing to Georgia State is massive adversity. So it built that Virginia Tech game set them up to be able to respond in the following weeks, to be able to show that, hey, that loss is not going to define their season. If they were lackadaisical and got beat by Virginia Tech, that might have been a different story after Georgia State. I don't know. Georgia State may have been a different story. I don't know. But the resiliency that they built and showed in week one stayed with them throughout the entire season until their depth just faded. So that's the reason why they beat Alabama, because resiliency, bouncing back. That's the reason why they gave Missouri a run for their money. They were a couple of bad breaks away from winning that game. They outplayed Missouri. They just had a couple of bad breaks that defined that game. You went on the road at Kentucky and at Auburn, two places that are not easy to win at. Then you get Texas to the brink as well. And it's those games that, define your season. It's those games that, all of those games set up what happened in the bowl game. So all that was essentially, the tone of that was set in week one. Now, this week one is not going to be quite as exciting, but there are some things that are going to help them. You start fast. you play aggressively, and you take care of business, that's going to bode well for you in the future. It's a habit that you're going to build. You're going to start fast against Virginia Tech. You're going to start fast against South Carolina, and you're going to build the depth to be able to sustain that momentum if you get it. And you're going to need to, because if you start fast on the road, you have a chance of taking the crowd out of the game. And if you can capitalize on that, you have a chance to keep the crowd out of the game. So you develop those habits this week, right? That's why these games are important, because it is a good warm-up rep. It is a good game to get everything out and to establish what you're going to do this season, right? And any game at any point, like LSU and Clemson, like the tone of that game is totally different, but something is going to be established in that game. So any game you talk about, you could probably talk about the storylines and say, hey, what is this? How is this going to set our course for the rest of the season? And this game can set your course for the rest of the season in the fact that, hey, this is your first chance to develop that habit of, hey, we're going to be sharp out of the gates and we're going to stay that way. All right. And so that's kind of how I see the impact of this game, the significance of this game, because it's easy to get lost when you see Charleston Southern, they're 1-11, all that stuff. It's easy to get lost in saying, okay, this team's not very good. We don't have to take this one seriously. I'm not even going to watch it. It's on SEC Plus, like all that stuff. Like you can say all of that, but the significance of this game is, hey, they're going to start fast. They're going to be sharp. They're going to develop some depth. You're going to see some pieces out there that are going to play, and you're going to see, you're going to see this whole roster, and that's a good thing. So that's the impact of this game. That's kind of where we're at for this game. So what are the keys to making that happen? So I say all that. I say, hey, start fast, all that. How do they do that? What are the keys to that overall? And then doing it specifically offensively and defensively for Vanderbilt. We're going to talk about that next. But first, we're going to talk about Gametime, man. I love Gametime, dude. And college football is so back, and I couldn't be more excited. Tailgates, rivalries, energy in the stands. There's nothing like it. But let's be real. Actually getting tickets can feel more like a battle than the game itself, with endless queues, hidden fees, price jumping at checkout. All that stuff can frustrate the crap out of you. That's why I use Gametime, the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the easiest way to score last-minute tickets at the best price with no surprise fees. What you see is what you pay. I pulled up Gametime, and in just a couple of taps, I saw amazing deals, man. I'm talking about there's games out there, your favorite college football games, for as low as $25, man. And that just makes this app so much more enjoyable than the other aforementioned apps. I mean, it's you can get your exact view from the seat. That's probably my favorite thing about this app, is you get to see that. And also the zone deals. I don't even have to pick the specific seats. I just pick the section. Gametime picks the seats. They're going to give me the best deal and the best view. Honestly, it's faster, cheaper, and less stressful than any other way I've bought tickets. I recommend nothing else except for Gametime. So take the guesswork out of buying college football tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Gametime today. Thanks for making Locked On Vandy your first listen each and every day. Hey, you like surveys? Yeah, we got one. You can take the survey at lockedonpodcast.com/survey. That's right, man. We want to hear from you. We put together a survey, like I said, to learn more about our listeners and make your favorite podcast even better. This is your chance to tell us what you like, what you don't, and answer questions about our advertising. So this is a very important request. It's going to help us help you. So help me help you, right? So go to the lockedonpodcast.com/survey to get started. Everyone who completes the survey will be entered for a chance to win one of 10 $100 Amazon gift cards. Again, that's lockedonpodcast.com/survey. You can also find the link in the show notes. It's right down there below in the description. Thanks for helping us out. Also, Thanks for making us your first listen, like I said. If you need a second listen, Locked On SEC. With week 1 looming, there's some great matchups in the SEC. Went over them on Monday, and we'll pick a few of them here later in the show. But I think you should listen to Locked On SEC to get all the important stuff on the matchups. The squad show, I hope you enjoyed that. That was a lot of fun. We had a nice guest with that. That was a lot of fun. I like doing stuff like that. The Amazon Fire TV game, that's going to be awesome. Our deal with that, kind of like we did with March Madness, that has now come over to college football. So if Vandy starts 5-0, there might be some momentum for me to get on that show. So I want to make an appearance. So I think Vandy needs to take care of business. So we talked about what the significance of this game is. Start fast, execute, take care of business, cover the spread, get your depth in there, get guys reps, things like that, all of that. So why is that important? So I said why it's important. How do they accomplish that? What are the keys to making that happen? So in the keys to the game, intensity, focus right out of the gate, play a clean game and take care of business is the first key to success. I kind of mentioned a little bit of that generally in the first segment, but in order to take care of business, your intensity has to be there. Your focus has so blown assignments, can't have those on either side of the ball. Communication, I think, is key. I think you have to be sharp in your communication, making sure the right people are in the right place at the right time. Make the play when it comes to you. Play a clean game. So the procedural penalties that plagued this team as they were trying to develop chemistry with each other in the spring and fall camp, those have got to kind of go away. I think gradually they did improve. But again, in a game like this, with the focus that might not be there, it could be easy to do that. Not sure. But anyway, that's the thing. Intensity, focus, play a clean game, take care of business on both sides. That means communicate. That means knowing your assignments, no blown assignments, and keep the game moving smoothly. And that way you'll do the right things at the right times and you'll score points and you'll be able to get guys in the game, right? It's all about building depth. It's all about developing your depth as much as you possibly can, finding weapons offensively, finding weapons defensively, being sharp in the kicking game, all of that, just in a general sense across all 3 phases. The intensity has to be there because sometimes it can get easy to let off the gas against a team like Charleston Southern. It can be very easy to take your foot off the gas. So you have to be able to make sure you intentionally increase your intensity. You have to be intentional about how you play, about how you focus in a game like this, because it's easy, right? Offensively, you got to be able to fully execute your must-haves. I think that's the most important thing, right? And the must-haves are the things that you want to be your core concepts: run, pass, play action, RPO, option, whatever the concept family is. You have to get to a point to where you're automatic with your must-haves, right? And the must-haves are the section on Tim Beck's play sheet. I don't know if he has a specific section for this. He probably should. I know I did. I had it in the back of my mind. I had it on the sheet. I never read it because I just had it ingrained in my mind. But my must-haves, I made sure that that's where I started. I made sure that after all else is done, after all the dust settles, I made sure that our must-haves that are important, the concepts that are going to be important for success throughout the course of the season, we have to be automatic at those. It has to be, I call this play, and it is, bam, it's there every single time, right? No matter what formation I call it from, no matter what situation it's called from, no matter where you're at on the field, no matter how you adjust the window dressing of that, the concept itself has to be on point, right? Anything kind of outside of the must-haves, you can still develop those. You can still make sure you're sharp on those, but the must-haves are vital. And this is your first chance to get that, right? And then, of course, offensively, you got to find some weapons. You got to find out what Richie Hoskins can do. This is his chance to shine in a real game. You got to see what he can do. Trey Richardson, Martell Height. You got to press the limits on those guys. See what they're capable of situationally. See how things shape out. Run game, you have to establish that. You have to find some chemistry with the offensive line to create running lanes, and the backs have to take advantage. And Diego Pavia, he's the maestro, right? And with all these weapons, like if you develop weapons, the pressure becomes lighter. It's not as heavy on you. You don't have the burden of carrying an offense. You're just a maestro out there just distributing the rock and doing your thing. And that's what Vandy has to get to. You have to be able to say, hey, I've got weapon here. I've got this situation. We've got this covered. We got that covered. And our must-haves, our most importance, our key core concepts, we have to be automatic at those. That is a major key to this game offensively. Be great at your must-haves. Be great situationally. Play clean. Find some weapons and establish those weapons and establish the roles of those weapons. That's the key there offensively. The big key on defense, win the line of scrimmage and make life tough on their offense. That goes without saying. Make it difficult to gain a yard for them. Make their quarterback run for his life. Make things muddy for him on the back end. Make things in the secondary. Make passing difficult. Get your arm up in these passing windows, hit the quarterback, sack him, create turnovers, all that. Make life miserable. Be a nightmare, right? This could be the nightmare defense. Like they could gain that nickname, but they've got to do it now. They got to, and to do that, they have to win the line of scrimmage, which means they have to come out with their hair on fire, right? Now, for this game especially, and you're going to need this skill throughout the season for different reasons, but the fact that they don't have film on their new offensive scheme, because this guy, I don't think has ever, reading from his bio, I don't think he's ever been a coordinator, but the ability to adjust and adapt quickly will be key. All right. And you're going to have to do that throughout the season for different reasons, but to be able to adapt quickly, adjust to what they're doing, adjust to how they're attacking you, that's going to be a vital concept for this defense. And they're going to have to be able to do that. So it's going to take stellar communication. That's going to take execution, and that's going to take everybody being on the same page and accepting their role. No matter how glamorous your role is not, you're going to have to accept it. And to develop the depth as much as possible, of course, get guys some reps, get guys some quality, meaningful reps, and see how far down the depth chart you can get guys into, right? The more of a nightmare you are defensively, the more of a nightmare Vandy is offensively. I think you're going to be able to get as many people in the game as you can, and that is going to be the biggest key to success. Develop the depth, find your weapons, and just be a nightmare. Right. So just quickly sum it up. Be a nightmare, find your depth, find your weapons, be aggressive, all that good stuff. Be a nightmare. That's going to be what is going to key this game for Vanderbilt. So week one's going to be fun. And here's the betting lines for Vandy specifically. They're 36.5-point favorites with the over under. If I'm going to parlay it, I'm going to take Vandy in the over, because I think they're going to do what it takes to do so. I think that's going to be the biggest key for them to get guys in. So I'm taking Vanderbilt and the over. And that's going to be kind of how I see this game happening. I think they're going to take care of business, and I think they're going to get Blaise Berlowitz some great reps. I think they're going to be able to get to the third quarterback. I think there are a lot of guys that are going to get a lot of reps, and it's going to be a really nice weekend for this Vanderbilt football program heading into a very, very important road game against Virginia Tech. So that's how I see that game happening. How was the rest of week one? I've narrowed down all 16 games in the SEC. I've picked my 3 favorite ones. I will tell you what those are next. Upside. Yeah, these games have upside. But hey, Locked On Vandy fans, are you still paying full price for gas? Stop leaving money behind and get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. Use my limited time promo code FOOTBALL to get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You could make up to $300 a year just from buying the gas you already needed. At first, I thought it was too good to be true, but it's totally legit. The real people are getting paid just to make their daily commute, and you can too. Plus, you can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. So don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now using my limited time promo code football for a limited time 25-cent per gallon bonus. That's promo code football. Disclaimer: offers may vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions. Wrapping up here, getting you into the weekend here. Locked On Vandy. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. At Locked On Vandy on all social media platforms. If you want to follow the show on a day-to-day basis, make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications, all that good stuff. Make sure you're part of the family. There's almost 800 of you that are part of the family, so let's keep that number growing, man. I come from a big family. I want a big family. I want the Locked On Vandy family to be huge. I want this show to be the best one in the Locked On SEC atmosphere, right? I want it to be up there in the upper echelon, just like the football program, just like basketball, just like baseball, just like women's basketball, just like golf, just like anything Vanderbilt's involved in. I want them to be top notch. So, and that includes this podcast. So make sure you subscribe, tell some friends, all that good stuff. Get it hyped up, right? Get it hyped up. So, making some picks, man. Like I doled out the week 1 betting lines, right? Here's all the betting lines here. I actually made it error. Clemson is actually 4.5-point favorites, not LSU. And that line has moved. That line's moved even since I posted this. And then here's the other betting lines here. So just to give you an idea of what you want to pick as your favorites, but here's mine. Take it or leave it. This is week 1. I was 3-0. I came out of the gates hot in week 0. So I feel pretty good. But here's my picks. Clemson -3.5 in the Battle of Death Valley. That game is narrowed. So I'm going to take, now that game's 3.5, I feel slightly better about it. I'm going to take Clemson there over LSU. I think Cade Klubnik just happens to, and I think it's just because he has a better offensive line. He's going to be able to distribute those picks. South Carolina -7.5. I like them a lot against Virginia Tech. I think they're a tough matchup, and I think Lenore Sellers is going to give them problems, just as I think Diego Pavia next week is also going to give them similar problems. So I like South Carolina -7.5. And then, of course, I like Ohio State -2.5 against Texas. This game, honestly, is one of the toughest I've had to kind of judge, and the line will tell you it's pretty much a coin flip. It's pretty much a pick 'em at this point. And the reason I like Ohio State, I think the thing that put me over the edge, and I know I'm going to get a few Texas people on here going, "Oh, you hate Texas. What are you doing?" But that's not true at all. I don't hate Texas. I just don't think they're as strong as they were last year. I think there's some tough games on their schedule, starting with this one, right? Because I think Arch Manning is going to be a great quarterback. I really do. But for him to come out of the gates for his first real start on the road at Ohio State, knowing what I know about that atmosphere, seeing what Tennessee did against them last year as a playoff team, I think it's going to be just as hype to start the season because it's a marquee matchup. It's the home opener. It's big noon kickoff. It is going to be an absolute atmosphere, right? And it's going to be very hostile. And so this Texas team replacing pieces on the offensive line, I'm just not sure that it's going to be a great scenario on the road. Like, I'm not sure that that's a recipe for success, because Arch Manning, I think if they get into a situation to where Arch Manning is running for his life, I don't think he can ever get into a rhythm. I don't think he can ever affect the game if he's too busy running for his life. Now, there's going to be moments. There's going to be moments of Julian saying they both have new quarterbacks. They both have great defenses. So all things created equal, I'm going to take the line of scrimmage. And right now, I think the line of scrimmage advantage is, and the line is perfect on this. I think it slightly favors Ohio State. The environment in the line of scrimmage slightly favor in Ohio State's direction. They're the defending champs. They've got all the juice, right? Texas is going to be playing on their heels for most of the game. That's not hate. I just think that that's just kind of what they're walking into. That's what Tennessee walked into. And they were a more veteran team last year against Tennessee, and Tennessee totally fell on their face in that game. But Ohio State, that was the beginning of their, hey, I'm going to show you run. I could say some, you know what I'm probably trying to really say, but that's how I see that game. I see it as a back and forth. I see it as a defensive slugfest. I see there's going to be a lot of physicality in that game. And I just think the line of scrimmage advantage is going to be slightly in favor of Ohio State. And I think that's going to be the difference in the game. It's going to be low scoring, and it's going to be kind of a slugfest. And that's how I see it. And it's no hate against Texas. And I think Texas is going to be really good this year. But I just think this is one of those games that it's just not the right matchup at the right time. And that's okay. They're going to be a good team. They're going to learn from it. But they've got, season-wise, they've got tough road games at Georgia, Florida. They've got the Red River Shootout, which is much tougher this year because Oklahoma's better. And then they got, of course, Texas A&M, who I think a lot of people are favoring them to make a playoff spot. So that game just got tougher as well. So they have a tough road ahead of them, and it starts at Ohio State. And I just think the Buckeyes have the edge. But anyway. We hope you have a great weekend. If you're going to the game, I think the weather's supposed to be phenomenal. So enjoy your tailgates, enjoy the game. The South End Zone hopefully should be completely complete. They might be doing some cosmetic stuff on the outside. I don't know exactly where they are. Hopefully things are tightened up. All the bolts are screwed down. All the seats are in place. All the concourses are there. It's going to provide for such a great atmosphere for you on this weekend. So if you go with my picks, I hope you win all of your picks. I hope you do well on your FanDuel bets. I hope you have a great weekend, great Labor Day weekend. Be safe, be responsible, and just most importantly, have fun. Enjoy the fact that Vanderbilt may actually be good at football for a long time. Just enjoy it. I'm going to. You should too. Anyway, anchor down. See you guys. Have a great weekend. Peace.